Well, like you said, my name's Vaughn Kelley. I'm the division commander for uniform patrol at the sheriff's office. So the guys you see out there every day, they kind of work for me. We respond to domestic violence calls quite often. Stats, which I'll be honest with you, when I pulled the stats, the numbers kind of surprised me a little bit. I knew we went for a lot of calls, but they were the right as it was. So I'll give you a little background. I started at the sheriff's office in 2007. Started in the jail for a few months and went to mandate, went to the road, and worked my way up through the ranks to where I'm at now. For almost 6 years, night shift sergeant, morning watch sergeant, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I saw a lot of domestic violence calls, a lot of family violence stuff, going from my supper was cold when I got home, it made me mad, to the worst case scenario. So it's a big problem for us, and I don't really know. I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit embarrassed when the sheriff told me or asked me to come speak at the domestic violence task force. I didn't even know we had one. I didn't know it existed. So I was glad to hear of it. You know, we're more than willing to help out. I'll be glad to listen to any idea that you have, anything you want to talk about. Come to after the meeting, I'll give you a cell phone number. Call me. We'll talk. You know, so my guys respond to these calls all the time, and they can get pretty hairy. I'll give you, for instance, one call that really sticks out in my mind. It was late one night. We had a lady called, and her daughter and living boyfriend were in a big fight. So we respond, and I was the first on scene. My backup officer just a few seconds behind me, and we had another officer that was about a minute away. So I go on the porch and I meet the mom, and she's telling me what's going on. He's out of control. He's intoxicated on something. So I go in the house and I confront him in the hallway. He instantly becomes combative, and it gets pretty heated and pretty ugly, and me and him wind up in the floor in a 3-foot wide hallway. Backup deputy comes in, he assists me, and we get it under control, and we handcuff him, and we take care of the problem at that moment. You know. But when I stand up and turn around, the deputy that was a minute behind us, he's standing there and he has tased the girlfriend. And she's laying on the floor and a big butcher knife laying there between her legs. And I'm like, what happened? Because I didn't have a clue. I didn't see her on the house. And he said, well, when I come in the door, she was about 3 foot behind you with a butcher knife coming down. So I said, thank you. And my wife thanked you. That's how quick it can go in just an instant. So I pulled some stats. In 2011, we were dispatched to 158 calls. And if you listen to these numbers, this is what surprised me on how much it grew each year. But in 2011, we were dispatched to 158. These are only domestic violence calls. 93 of those included some sort of physical violence, some sort of touching, simple assault or simple battery, some kind of physical contact. In 2012, we went to 241 calls. 101 of those contained physical contact. In 2013, 322 calls. So it's doubled there in 2 years. 120 of those have physical contact. In the first 6 months of this year, we've been to 192. So we're on the track for it to keep escalating up. So, like again, like I said at the start, we are more than willing to help out in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I talked to the guys at work this morning and told them I had to come over at lunchtime. And they are all agree with me that anything we can do to alleviate this somewhat. And it's tough, I know. I would say 90% of all the calls we go to are alcohol. Alcohol's involved one way or another. Some are just a normal argument, some are just jealousy, you know, husband, wife. Not believing what wife said, what husband said, you know. But they're usually some sort of intoxicant involved some way or another. That's a big problem that we see. On how we fix that problem. Pickens County, a legal county. I actually said something to one of the guys about coming over here today, and he said, tell them the best way to solve this is to have everybody move to Cherokee. Good, but then there goes our tax base, and you know, then we're kind of done with head in the water then. But again, we're more than glad to help. And I'm tickled to see a group of people concerned about this issue, and I feel honored to get the opportunity to stand and speak in front of you. Captain Reynolds was making a joke a while ago about the back table being the Baptist back there. I told him, I said, yeah, actually, I'm a Baptist preacher. I said, last time I stood up in front of a group of people and spoke, I had a Bible in front of me. So this time it's a gun to duty belt. A little bit different. But again, we're common folks. My guys are daddies and husbands.
I've got a question. I'm like Lieutenant Kelley. I really don't know what the task force does. Can somebody help us a little bit and explain what y'all do and what programs y'all offer? Anybody?
Basically, it's to bring about awareness within the community, but especially to get us all together and working together toward a common goal. I think that there are a lot of synergies that can occur when we get all of these different people from different entities within the community together, working together to drive down these numbers. Because hearing the fact that the numbers have doubled in such a short period of time is very concerning. And so that's basically the.
What kind of goals are in the works? I mean, what are those things that, as a collective group, are being done to help minimize those?
Well, I think that I'm the head of the group at Gilmer, but this group has just reinvented itself recently, and so I think it'd be up to the group itself to decide. Main thing is trying to prevent domestic violence through education and speeches and things like that. So I think it'd be for this group to get together and decide what goals they want, but since they've not met that many times right now, they're probably still in the process of trying to come up with those goals. You know, with my group, we do toiletries for the crisis center. We go to the Apple Festival and give out information about domestic violence. Let's see, we went to the county fair, did the same thing. And then we have fundraisers so we can do more education. But this group is just kind of getting together for the first time in a while.
Okay. And not to steal his thunder, but you know, for us, in our experiences, it's a progressive, escalating situation. And usually we get called out for a verbal dispute, and the next time it's a push and a shove, and the next time it's a little bit more and more. So that recidivist behavior,
right, yes.
That's where we have the most troubles, because when we know that 102 Main Street is, you know, the same type of call, and we know what to expect, and it's only going to get worse. I think that's where we feel that our hands are tied. And of course, the lieutenant can tell you more about that. But, you know, our struggles are dealing with those situations at the moment, and what resources do we have at that time?
We've met with a crisis network last month, the month before last, and I had a lady come at one of our supervisors meetings to speak to our sergeants about victims assistance and seeing how we can assist there and what we can do. I really don't have much of an understanding of the battered wife syndrome. I know it's real. I mean, I've talked to ladies before. It just keeps going on and on. They get beat up and they go right back, or they get beat up and they get mad because they take the husband to jail. And really, that leads me. I don't understand that process. If my wife gets me, it's over. We're done. I would like for y'all to do this if you don't mind, because I see a lot of faces that I recognize. you the judge, but I don't know all of y'all. If you don't mind, like you go around and introduce yourself, you know, so that I'll know who you are next time I see you. My name's Vaughn Kelley. If you walk in the front door of the sheriff's office, Miss Carroll, everybody knows Miss Carroll, she's sitting right there. Hook a left and go through that door, and I'm right there. So anytime you come in and see me, I'm there Monday through Friday, so.
I'm Nicole MacArthur. I'm an assistant district attorney here in Pickens. And I was also kind of nominated to be the secretary for the domestic violence task force. So
I said in your courtroom yesterday, and I said,
yes.
I didn't know who you were. I didn't line up.
Yes.
I'm Christy Odell, I'm an investigator in the DA's office.
I'm Michael Parham, I'm the circuit public defender for the judicial circuit.
Frank Reynolds, I do what Donnie Craig tells me to do. I am, on the side of the house, we have two different operations at the sheriff's office. We have field operations and headquarters, and basically I work with Vaughn and school resources, courthouse, some other things.
I'm Susan Balcom. I'm the Director of Victim Services for the District Attorney's Office.
I'm Marilyn McFadden, and I'm going to kick it back to Susan because I expect that I'll be doing what Susan tells me. And I'm as eager as you are to hear what that's going to be.
Marilyn's going to be working with us as a consultant, and we have a lot of really good ideas for how she can help this domestic violence task force further get off the ground, so we'll be relying on her heavily. I'm sure.
Well, I really would like to speak to y'all, but we don't really have a whole lot of answers for victims assistance. I mean, we have the little tactic that we can give them, but specific answers to questions we don't have, so.
Lieutenant, I'm an ex-cop and an ex-prosecutor, so.
I'm sorry.
I know it, but I went to law enforcement academy after I had been working as a lawyer for a long time, and I came to the, bright side.
Okay, Ann Hofstadter, we're new counseling. We work with substance abuse, but we also do the family violence intervention program in Jasper, LJ, and Blue Ridge. We work with the men. So, okay.
I'm Donna Bunch. I'm the victim advocate in the Pickens County office, the DA's office.
We need to talk to you too.
Tammy Skaggs, the mental health court coordinator. I come into the jail and do the assessment on those that are referred to us.
I'm Greg Owen with felony probation here in Jasper.
I'm Melissa Moore, and I'm also a felony probation officer in Pickens.
And I'm Sandra Wright. I'm the Appalachian Children's Emergency Shelter Director.
I'm Robin Hilton, and I'm the Outreach and Awareness Prevention Coordinator for the North Georgia Mountain Crisis Network, which is the women's shelter.
I'm Lynn Painter, I'm the Chief Compliance Officer for the Accountability Court.
I'm Julia Painter. I'm the coordinator for the Accountability Courts.
I'm Stacy McClure, and I'm the program coordinator for the Appalachian Circuit for grants. And I will say that the Domestic Violence Task Force has always assisted in the cash match for our visitation center here in Pickens. And we've had that grant for, I think it was one of our 10th year. And this program has always helped with that, along with some cash funds that's allowed through the county general funds.
I'm Tara Gibson, I'm Judge Weaver's assistant.
Amy Fowler, Judge Weaver's law clerk.
I'm Alan Weeks, I'm the Chief Judge in Magistrate Court here.
I'm Alan Morris, Associate Magistrate Judge.
I'm David Lindsay, I'm the probate court judge.
Donnie Craig, and I am not a judge.
And I'm John Wooster, I'm the Chief Juvenile Judge, and I also work with a lot of the domestic violence issues.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, really, like I said, I saw you yesterday, but I didn't know what your name was. I saw all your faces, but I didn't know what your name was. Y'all, I've talked to on the phone, but I didn't know what you looked like. So this helps me a lot, and I would like to speak with y'all anytime. Just call me and I'll come to you, that's fine, to see what we have to offer, victims, and see how we can assist and help in that aspect. Because, like I said, my office is right there with the guys that are on the road every day, so I hear all their stories, their horror stories, their war stories. I get the privilege of checking, looking at 10,000 reports a year, so I read everything that comes through. Anytime, call me, I'll come see you. We'll assist in any way we can, and I thank you for allowing me to come talk to you today.
And now, Sheriff Craig, can come talk about Food Fest.
I would like to thank Vaughn for coming and speaking and just kind of sharing some numbers with y'all. And one thing that we didn't touch on was training and talking a little bit about family violence settings and goals. One thing that we have discussed and we would like to see is maybe working with some of y'all about some of the things that you deal with, what we're dealing with, and really, and obviously with the DA's office, see what we can do to do better at training not only our staff at the sheriff's office, but reaching out to other law enforcement in Pickens, as well as Gilmer and Fannin as well. We all work pretty close together as sheriffs, but unfortunately, I don't think any of us do enough when it comes to training in family violence and working together with our DA's office and our counselors and things like that. But Lexus has been working for several weeks trying to come up with some ideas. It's a fundraiser, something that they can do during Jeep Fest. And every time she calls, says, Sheriff, I've got it, how about this? We haven't got it covered. So that's happened, 4 or 5 times. But I think we had one vendor that was coming in that sells hot dogs, was a hot dog vendor, and they called and said that they're not going to be able to attend. So I talked to Alexis about that, and she's going to need y'all's help because she said she didn't even know how to cook a hot dog. But I think that'll do real well. Nobody else at the event will be selling hot dogs. To kind of give you an update on where we're at, we're 16 days away from opening day of G-Fest. Last year on the Saturday we had 499 pre-registered. This year we're about 860 pre-registered. I anticipate we'll probably have 12 to 1,500 Jeeps. And on Saturday, which is our biggest day, we could probably have about 8,000 people there at our home base and around the concerts. The vendors would actually start up on, you could set up on Friday. The vendor booth would open up Saturday morning or mid-morning, I guess, for lunch, and then would need to run through the concerts that night, which will be around 10, 11 o'clock. So Saturday will be a very
What's the
long
date of that?
It's September the 7th, 6th and 7th. That's Saturday and Sunday. And then Sunday morning, our vendors will start back up about 10 and we'll go till about 3 o'clock. So, and I know last year during the event, a lot of the food vendors, and we have just a limited number. I think this year we may have 10 or 12 vendors, and that's it. The reason for that is we want people, if you're a food vendor, we want you to be able to make some money and have a, have a good weekend. We need to really think about how much needs to be prepared and how we're going to do that. Because, like I said, last year, a lot of the food vendors that do shows regularly, I mean, they were running back and forth 3 and 4 times trying to keep up with their customers. So, my recommendation for the booth when we're talking about that is try to maintain at a minimum maybe 5 in the booth at a time. But again, I mean, that's up to whatever y'all come up with. We would be willing to help however we can. So, any questions about the food or anything?
Will Lexus be sending out an email about getting people to sign up for
That's what we're
different
going to
time
do too.
slots? Oh, today?
If anyone knows they want to sign up or volunteer.
Yeah, they can sign in. We have a sign-in sheet for just everyone to sign in for being here, but we'll have a separate sheet, so if anybody wants to go ahead and put that on there. And then we'll send out an email to everybody, but especially the people that did want to say that they would volunteer, because obviously we want to do more training and educate the community and ourselves, but we also have to have some money to do that. And so that's this will be a huge thing, I believe, that we'll be able to raise a good amount of money doing that. So you can see in here. And I did want to thank both the sheriff and Vaughn for coming and speaking, and the sheriff's office did provide lunch for us today, so I wanted to thank them for that as well.
You have any other questions about Tea Fest? Now, this is our, 4th year doing it? This year, potentially the largest all Jeep event in the country right now, or the southeast part of the country, is down in Daytona Beach, Florida. This year, they had 1,300 Jeeps in attendance. So we've got a real good chance this year to have the largest in the Southeast. And while it may have started out being an event that the Sheriff's Office put on, I mean, it will take us probably 150 to 200 volunteers over the weekend to do it. And it has turned out really to be a community event. And just very proud of all the support that we get from the different organizations and, you know, just the community as a whole. Last year we raised, after paying everything we asked, we raised about $70,000. It went to our charities, which is the Georgia Sheriff Youth Homes, the Joy House, and the Sheriff's Foundation, which is our local nonprofit. This year the money's coming back into the foundation, the Sheriff's Foundation, and then through that foundation we'll support, again, the Georgia Sheriff Youth Homes, the Joy House, as well as several other nonprofit groups that support children in our communities. So we appreciate it. We'll be glad to, like I said, do anything we can to help. And I think it's a great opportunity for the Domestic Violence Task Force to raise some funds and a lot of awareness, because even though the majority of the participants coming in are from outside of Pickens, a lot of the people that come in for the vendor shows and the concerts and things like that are a lot of local folks. So I think it's a good time to get some exposure, and if we get some banners and stuff like that made up, and we can put those up. Anyway, we can, you know, again, support what y'all are doing.